goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
What up, YouTube? Peace and blessings, glory, praise, and honor. Look, this young lady here, she had a question, and I want to provide that answer for you. Now, you might not particularly agree with the answer that I'm going to give you, but I'm going to give you an answer nonetheless. Let's talk.
For a generation of sisters these days who love sleeping around with niggas, love having sex, y'all sure do hate these guys. And when I say y'all hate them, you will literally do the opposite of what he wants you to do to make him happy in order to please yourself. Be like, nah, boo, I don't really like that outfit, but you'll go outside in it anyway. He'll be like, nah, boo, all that makeup, you know what I'm saying? You don't really need it all. You'll pound on more. He'd be like, nah, boo, all that weave, you know what I'm saying? It's too much for me. I like it natural. And you'll go get a 40-inch bust down. But, like, how does that make sense? Like, you want to be with a man, but you don't want to be with a man. Like, you want to have sex with a man, but you don't want to marry a man. Like, you want to have this man's baby, but you don't want to let him raise his baby. Like, it just don't make no sense to me. And it's all about get what you want, get what you can from these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Granted, it is some dog-ass dudes out here. But, at the end of the day, you have to reflect on you. Like, what type of life are you living? Basically, you're in prostitution mode. You're just not on the strip. You feel me? Where's your integrity? Where are your values? What are your values? How can we continue to say, we want to deal with men, but we just hate everything that they have to say? And when a sister like me get on here and try to defend a man, we're called pick-me's. So, I mean, it's not really adding up, And I just want to understand the logic a little bit better. If anybody can explain it, please, in the comments, let's chat.
Simple question. Remove social media, remove Cinderella, Aladdin, the Disney platform, remove the music, remove all of the tropes, and what are you left with? There's your answer. That is everything that you need to know right then and there. We have been programmed to think, move, and talk a certain way. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Am I lying? Am I making this up?
For those of you that don't know, I've removed myself from social media. For the most part, I don't engage it anymore. I haven't been on Instagram in 6 months. I pulled the phone out, I get on Instagram. And while I'm on Instagram, I see something that made me laugh. It's a 15-second clip. I busted out laughing. I scroll to the next clip and I see a musician playing and he sounds amazing and it brought me joy. I scroll to the next clip and I see a young man being murdered in his community by someone in a position of authority and it brought me rage. I scroll to the next clip and discover that someone I know had passed a few months ago and it brought me sorrow. And then it clicked. I'm feeling way too many emotions in this short period of time. I went from laughing to feeling joy over music to feeling hostile over misappropriation of authority to feeling sorrowful over the death of a human being. No human being is designed to consume that many emotional shifts in one moment. Social media is perverting you because you don't even realize that you're taking in too much information, too much emotional overstimulation at one time. And I was only on there for 30 minutes. Your children are on that thing all day. I don't understand why my kids is dealing with depression because the comment section told your daughter she was fat and ugly. And instead of you oh God, help me in this place, and saying you got to get off there now. Mama, they call me fat and ugly. See, the problem is when you tell her she's beautiful, she struggles to believe that because you mama. But they want public approval because they're underdeveloped emotionally. So when they hear somebody say they fat and ugly, they may not be fat at all. But this person who's dealing with their own insecurity is trying to project their insecurity off on your child. So now your child's heart has been exposed and they're dealing with an allostatic load because nobody protected their heart. What we can.
Y'all really want to go down this rabbit hole? Do y'all really want to do this, or is this just for clicks, views, and likes? Because we can talk about this. We can really actually get down to the get down with this. None of that bullshit, fake Dr. Cheyenne Bryant rhetoric. None of the no. We can really call it for what it is. Are you really ready to have this conversation?
I'm a brainwashing expert, and I am personally terrified of short form social media like that. And I'm not immune. And I'm one of the best in the world, and I am not immune to it. And I think that should be a stark warning for a lot of people.
What's the cost, though? What's the cost of the life, in your view, of living this kind of life where, you know, we go home and we just like burn our brains out with these social media apps and fry our dopamine receptors? Is there like a cost?
Yeah, I think the cost is increased loneliness. And these apps, any app that sells ads has two main goals. Number one, and all advertising shares these two main goals. Number one, make you compare yourself to other people in unhealthy ways. Number two, make you think, I am not enough. And we see that everywhere. I'm not enough. I'm comparing myself to other people. And it gets us into an us versus them. Then it traps you into a corner of confirmation bias. Whatever you think, I'm going to show you this group of 150 people that agree with you, no matter how stupid, how radical, how absolutely bizarre your ideas are. Let me show you all of these people. And then you start thinking the whole world's like that. So really quickly, what happens when we conglomerate people together? Like, I've only been to New York once in my life, but we're in New York right now, looking at my hotel. I was like struggling to find a piece of nature. Like, I think I have more trees on my property than there are in the whole city here. So on the whole, when you squeeze people together, have you heard of the bystander effect? So there's a very good experiment that was led by Dr. Philip Zimbardo that they did at Liverpool Street Station.
In London?
In London, yeah.
Okay.
So right at Liverpool Street, there's a video on YouTube, and it's fair use if you want to overlay like an image of what this looks like. But at Liverpool Street Station, there's 3 or 4 steps to get up to the main. So from the street, there's a curb, and then there's 3 or 4 steps. They had this woman laid out on the ground wearing like a normal skirt and top. And I think 395 people either walked by her or stepped over her. And then they did it with a guy. And then they did it with a guy. He's holding a beer and he's asking for help. And it changed all these variables. But it's happened in New York City before. There's a woman named Kitty Genovese in the 60s, I think just 2 blocks from here, who was stabbed to death in front of like 55 witnesses. Don't quote me on that number. And no one called the police until much, much later, mostly because everyone thought somebody else would act. But if I described to you saying, I watched a person get stabbed and 3 people just watched and they watched it happen, would you say that that's psychopathy? That's a psychopath.
Yeah.
So these large cities and stuff, and the apps that are messing with the social part of our brain that makes us think the tribe is way bigger than our brains are made to handle, causes this almost psychopathic behavior, which the bystander effect has been proven hundreds of times as an experiment.
Social media is a disaster. It's damaging a whole generation of people. These massively valued companies are manipulating our minds for monetary gain. Anxiety, depression, ADHD, and addiction are at epidemic levels in older teenagers and young adults. And I think social media is a huge reason why. What's happening is we're being thrilled to death. That we actually have an area in our brain called nucleus accumbens. It's the pleasure center in the brain. It's where addiction happens in the brain. But if you hit it too often or too hard, it begins to wear it out. And we end up with this DDD, dopamine deficit disorder. And all of a sudden we feel flat. And then you see these young kids going after alcohol and promiscuity and drugs and video games. And I'm like, you're just murdering your dopamine receptor.
All of that to say this. Most of us do not know who we are. Most of us have been raised by social media. Most of us have been told to be this and told to be that by everyone else. We ignored our tribe. We ignored our loved ones who tried to raise us the right way, or we didn't have that advantage. We allowed the system to redirect our calling and purpose. We didn't do enough due diligence to seek answers and the truth for ourselves. We're not challenging everything that we consume because we're distracted. Our focus and our attention is on the wrong stuff. So when you see these behavior patterns in adults, when they should have dissipated years ago, this is a part of the reason right here. This is why there are so many immature adults that can't formulate words, can't have proper discord, don't know how to be human to each other. This is exactly a part of that. Has nothing to do with whatever narratives red pill community tried to drop in there. I'm not talking about the Andrew Tate stuff. I'm talking about, like, matter of fact, I'm speaking specifically about that. The real stuff is a lot of us don't have God in our life. A lot of us are not following Jesus Christ. We're not in that word. This machine is our mom and dad. That's why we are here. This is why we have the issues that we have. I hope that answers your question.